I think there are many areas where we can improve. And this is not a negative assessment of the organization. I think that, as I said, this is really an intellectual powerhouse for the continent. So it's really important that we rise to this role vis-à-vis our partners on the continent, at the national, regional level, but also on the global stage. Now, there are reforms actually that have been introduced starting last year, and we are in the phase of implementation. And there are major reforms that are happening also at the global level that are led by the Secretary General in the development arena across the UN development system, but also in the management area on really how best to work together, the UN family, but in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. Now, the world is also changing. We are in a digital era, and it's changing at a very, very high speed and pace, and we need to catch up. If we don't catch up in a way, it means that we are not going to be relevant, and especially relevant to the member states. First of all, I think we're talking about these three mandates of ECA, the think tank, the convener, and the operational. I think that even in these three streams, these three roles, there are a number of areas that need special attention. And in fact, in the context of this reform, I think that we have already started. It's very clear. First, in terms of understanding as a think tank, how do we organize ourselves? Just a simple thing such as selecting and prioritizing our research and analytical work, making sure that we are being strategic, we are being relevant, that we are bringing value to our member states, and that we are really looking to our comparative advantage in terms of the analytical work that we are doing, and that we are recognized as such as the think tank of number one of the continent. Even though we are claiming that, it's not always obvious that this is how we are perceived. So there is already, actually it's quite interesting because even yesterday at this extended senior leadership team meeting, one of the issues that we were discussing were really the streamlining of ECA's publications, meaning that we were looking at how to ensure that we are focusing on the most critical issues in terms of publications, that we are streamlined, that it's not about the number of publications, but more in terms of the quality and the value and also the impact. So this is, for example, one of the areas that it's being looked at, and I think there is still room to continue improving this area, and I'm sure that ECA will definitely continue to work on this. There are a number of other areas, even in terms of how we deliver our operational support. We are already in the context of this reform, looking at how do we deliver actually our services in a much more coherent and impactful manner, so that we are not seen as, let's say, fragmented in the way we deliver, and we are delivering just one multiple small activities in different countries without actually looking across the house on how we can leave something that is more coherent and more impactful to our member states. So this is another area that is critical in terms of the UN of ECA's improvement. We are also looking at how can we partner better across the UN system. And ECA will have to play a critical role at the regional level because we have actually a clear GA mandate on our role here at the regional level. And it's very important that we actually demonstrate the ability to carry out this lead role in terms of coordinating with the other UN agencies, both on the programmatic and analytical work, but also even other operational. So we have the largest compound, for example, at the operational level. And one critical areas of reform for the Secretary General is really the establishment of UN common premises. So ECA will have in a way to demonstrate that we'll be able actually to bring and to build actually the UN house in Addis, that will be able to actually collocate and bring the other UN agencies in our compound, that will be able to provide efficient services to other UN agencies and beyond. So there are issues of efficiency and effectiveness that we still have to work on the programmatic side and the operational side. Very positive, despite probably some of the challenges that the country is facing now, but I think the challenges in a way are also related to the fact they are bold political ambitions and bold societal transformation. So it's understanding that these challenges are there. It's an interesting moment also for me, actually leaving Ethiopia. I came to Ethiopia in '97, so this is my second tour of duty to Ethiopia. So I'm leaving actually with very, very positive thoughts and about and a very positive experience. And I will give you even just one example. I left Ethiopia at a time when I think a year and a half after the conflict and the war has started with Eritrea. So, and now I'm living at a time when Eritrea and Ethiopia have actually signed a peace agreement. So it's very exciting to see that this has happened. So looking at when I left and now that during my second tour of duty, what has happened since then, it's quite an amazing journey. But also I have seen the major transformations that have happened in Ethiopia, from economic, social, political, and also physical and infrastructure, to see how the country really has transformed and gone in the right direction, knowing where it's starting from. I don't think, frankly, that there is any country on the continent that has transformed so rapidly in a period of 20 years. At least the countries that I have visited on the continent, the major transformations that I have seen in Ethiopia are quite exhilarating. So I am living on a very positive note. I love this country, I love the city, and I look forward to coming back and visiting in Ethiopia and continuing actually to see these changes and the transformation. Just it's not even an anecdote about the transformation that has happened in Ethiopia. I remember that when I came back, I went back and I was trying to find my old neighbors and the house where I lived before, and I couldn't find a house. So I went around and around, and I was like, I can't believe it. I can't find this house. And yes, so a friend of mine took me back to the place, and I said, no, this was not the place. And said, yes, believe me, this is where you lived at that time in '98. So your neighbors have left because the whole neighborhood has changed, and actually for the better. So you can understand. So, and I decided, I kept saying that I know Addis. I have lived in Addis for almost 4 years. Then after 2 or 3 weeks, I said, okay, I think I need to now learn about that city. I don't know the city. I can't drive in the city. Let me discover this city. So, and I rediscovered Addis.